Hello everybody, my name is Christina Mendez, and today I'm going to be talking about how America enables the over-sexualization of women of color. Since I was a young girl, I have struggled with having others police my body and over-sexualizing it for their own concern or pleasure. From being an elementary school student and having my shorts be deemed as too short and distracting, to being a 16-year-old who is too beautiful to wear makeup, I have found that others feel entitled to my body and what I do with it. However, I didn't consider the issues with these comments until I became a preteen and was more aware of the true meaning behind it. As boys started to take interest in me, they would say things like, you're the perfect mix. The body of the Hispanic woman, which is great for, with the personality of a white girl. I tried for so long to convince myself that I had it all. I had the best of both worlds, right? So people would find me pretty. But as I got older, I realized that these contorted compliments were not endearing, and that I needed to get out of the mindset that these boys' words defined my worth. In this transition period, I felt really alone, and I wondered, do other people feel this way too? That's when I began asking my peers if they've also experienced this, and I realized I was not alone in this at all. Since this feeling is something I've struggled with for so long, I wanted to truly see if other people related. I conducted an anonymous survey where I asked 30 of my female peers and friends of color a few questions. Every young woman that filled out the survey was between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. The responses that I got were extremely alarming. 99% of participants said that race has been a contributing factor in regard to why people find them attractive. This stood out to me because oftentimes people use their preference as a reason for only deeming certain types of people to be beautiful. For my next question, 75% of people said that someone they've either romantically talked to or that was interested in them have demeaned them due to their race. Once again, a large majority. In our community, this is a major problem. It is concerning how normal it is for young people to have to deal with stuff like this. Lastly, 100% of people agree that the over-sexualization of women of color is normalized and not talked about enough. For my open-ended question, a number of people wrote how they feel regarding this topic. I'm going to read out some of the things that stood out to me most. They say it will never amount to the beauty standards in which women not of color do, when in essence, everyone is beautiful. We have now believed that it takes a certain type of person to find women of color attractive and applaud them for appreciating them, which is the bare minimum. I don't want people commenting on my body shape all the time. Sometimes I feel like that's all they see me as. I want people to stop calling me exotic. There's nothing exotic about me. They all have a commonality. They're unwarranted compliments that perpetrate Eurocentric beauty standards and diminish women of color. To prepare for this talk, I interviewed Alyssa Pavlakis, a graduate student working towards her PhD at the University of Illinois. I interviewed Ms. Pavlakis when she wrote a wonderful article in the University of Illinois' personal journal, Phi Delta Kappan, entitled How Dress Codes Criminalize Males and Sexualize Females of Color. It touched upon the ideas of how people are more often than not targeted due to their race. In our conversation, one of the ideas that she brought up was how history is the root of this over-sexualization. History shapes the world around us and the way that things are, but it's also so hard to escape the ways of the past. The normalization and fetishization of women of color has been rooted in our country since its founding, which is why it is so hard to break today. In the article, The Colonial Roots of Racial Fetishization of Black Women, Karen M. Holmes explains how from the moment that Christopher Columbus stepped foot in current-day America, the colonists viewed women of color in a demeaning and selfish light. For centuries, colonizers would exploit Black women's bodies for their own sexual desire. They would not only sexually abuse them, but also physically abuse them to maintain their dominance over them. Having these ideas ingrained in our society's past is a hard cycle to break, but it is essential if we want to make a change. Today, one of the main contributing factors of the over-sexualization is the influence that media has. In Janelle Hobson's Remnants of Venus Signifying Black Beauty and Sexuality, it focuses on the way that Black women are portrayed in the media. It mentions how the beauty standards for many popular Black artists' bodies in their work are exemplified through revealing clothing, sexual dance movements, and messages. The article refers to the women that participate in this trend as big booty women. One example of an artist that correlates with these ideas is Nicki Minaj. Don't worry, Barbs, I love and adore Queen Nicki, please don't attack me. One thing about Nicki is that she popularly uses her body as a part of her brand and her tactic for her success. However, Nicki has a unique perspective on over-sexualization because she sexualizes herself instead of letting others sexualize her. The idea of sexualizing yourself is a form of having power over yourself, rather than letting society dictate its negative opinions on you. However, the media can also have many negative effects on everyday women's identities. With the large majority of young people on social media, we are constantly seeing what other people are doing and what they look like. This can have an influence on young women's views of what their body are supposed to look like and how they are supposed to dress. If young women don't fit into this mold of what's popular in the media, it could potentially make them feel like they aren't as beautiful, simply because they may not possess the same characteristics as others. It is also very popular for people to change their appearance before they post it on social media. With popular apps like Facetune, people are able to completely change their appearance to give them their desired look. This too stems from America's over-sexualized culture because we put so much emphasis on having a nice body that people feel like they need validation to recognize their worth. In order to make a change, we need to accept that there is an issue at hand. We also need to listen, truly hear what people have to say. Once we're past this step, it's time to educate others and start conversations. These conversations won't happen if people don't attempt to understand. The over-sexualization of women is deemed as taboo, and it's hard to discuss why because our culture has normalized it to the point where people don't recognize that it's happening. Although uncomfortable conversations are hard, they could also be some of the most beneficial ones. It is also important to note that victims have to take initiative in order to get people's attention. It is their story to tell, and by speaking up, they're not only taking control of their situation, but can empower others to do the same. By doing this, they're saying, I am greater than the thing that is trying to bring me down. We need to speak out, we need to speak loud. I'll leave you with this. What I've learned from this experience is the importance of gaining control over yourself and remembering that you are the only person who dictates your worth. Thank you.